So we're going to talk about finding complex zeros. We've done this very quickly in class already, but this is kind of a reminder on quadratics. So first of all, our job is to find the zeros. So we're going to start looking at this problem here, and we should go, oh yeah, that's a quadratic, x squared plus 4, and there we go. X squared plus 4, it's a quadratic, and we're going to find the zeros. So we, as always, set these equal to 0. This one's easy because there's no linear term, there's no bx. We can actually just go x squared equals -4. And then to get rid of the, so I subtracted 4 from both sides. To get rid of the square root, I take the square root of both sides. What I need to remember is put in the plus or minus. That's our job to remember that. And once I do that, I'll get x equals plus or minus the square root of -4. At which point, you need to look at the -4 and go, hey, that's just, what's it called? This can be rewritten as I squared times 2 squared. That's a 2. That's a 2. 2 squared plus or minus. So the answer really is plus or minus, oh my goodness, plus or minus 2i. So we did a few things there that you need to be aware of. We solved this without using the quadratic formula. We took the square root of a negative number, and that involves I in breaking down this. If this is what you need help with, we need to learn how to simplify roots. Please let me know if that's what you need help with, okay? And so to get this from this to that, you need to learn how to simplify roots. Okay, so that's a relatively easy one. Next, we're going to talk about this one over here. This is a little bit more complicated. There's a few things happening. Our a term is not 1, so I'm not even going to bother trying to factor this. I know I can't factor it, but that's what I know. I'm going to use the quadratic equation. So I first set this equal to 0 because I'm trying to find the complex zeros or roots. I know that this is a, b, and c. So I say that x equals the opposite of b minus 4. The opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared, and notice that I'm squaring the whole -4 there, b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. That is a formula that you need to know. If you need help with that, please ask me for some help on quadratic formula, and we'll get you some. So now we just need to do the arithmetic. Double negative, that means we got +4 plus or minus the square root. -4 squared is 16. That first term's always going to be positive. And the reason why we know that there's going to be imaginary roots or complex roots is the fact that 4 times 2 is 8 times 8 is 64. Well, this whole thing inside here is going to be negative. And then we divide by 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. 16 minus 64. I got to think about that for a moment and realize that the answer is going to be 8, 6, 5, 48. Ooh, is that right? Yeah, that's right, -48, right? So I know that that's -48. So now I have 4 plus or minus the square root of -48. So I'm going to know that that's going to be I root 48 over 4. Now I got to think about 48, and I got to figure out how to simplify that square root there. So I know that 4 can go into 48 12 times, and so then I know that 4 goes into that again, goes into 12. So really 48 is 16 times 3. So I'm going to rewrite this as 4 plus or minus I times the square root of 16 times 3 over 4. I know that the square root of 16 is 4. So this whole thing is going to boil down to 1 plus or minus 3 root, I root 3. And if you need help simplifying that, again, that's down here to simplifying square roots. So here are my 2 answers of x that make this equation 0. We know that there needed to be 2 answers because that's a 2. Similarly over here, we know that there needed to be 2 answers, and we have plus or minus there. So there's 2 answers there. All right, thank you.